I think that what motivates me is just knowing that we can be there and we can make a difference.
Tell me about the general world of nonprofit in New York, or just how it is to operate.
And they went and they did really well. And Fred Astaire would mail us a check for $500 every year for the rest of his very long
Oh,
life.
wow.
So
Hi, I'm here with Karen Foster from Actors Guild and her colleague Rebecca, who both have been using and experiencing You Can Book Me for quite some time. But more importantly, I'd like to welcome you both to our customer showcase.
thank you so much for having us.
The reason why we run these showcases, Karen, is because we love getting to know about the kind of people who use You Can Book Me and for what, and what their background is. We get to learn more about your organizations. I understand you're a nonprofit. These are kind of examples of where our scheduling tool becomes a partner in a whole other different story. And for us, we're super curious and excited about being part of other people's business organizational journeys. So why don't you tell me a little bit about the background to Actors Guild and what it is that you guys do?
Sure, I'd love to. The Episcopal Actors Guild is a nonprofit in New York City. We help performing artists who are going through crisis. So we have several support services for the performing arts community in New York City. We give emergency financial grants for people who need help with rent or medical bills or utilities. And around 2014, we noticed that there was an uptick in the amount of people who were not having enough to eat. So we started our Actors Pantry. As far as Rebecca and I know, it is the only performing arts specific food bank that's ever been created. That program has sort of taken off and grown over the past 10 years.
Tell me a little bit more about Actors Guild and how you got into that in the first place, Karen, and where it came from.
I wish that I could say that Rebecca and I started it, but actually the organization goes way back to 1923.
Wow.
So our organization has been around for 101 years.
Who started it in New York? Was it because of Broadway?
I think so. I mean, I think that New York City has always been a theatrical center. We actually grew out of another organization called the Actors Church Alliance that was actually around from 1899. It was definitely the proximity to this theatrical center.
And at the risk of sounding sort of facetious, have you ever had, some people have gone on to then become quite well known? I mean, who are the people that you would have their autographed photographs on your wall?
One of our first clients was Fred Astaire and his sister Adele, and they were behind on their rent and were getting called to go to LA for the big screen test. And they didn't have money for that, so we helped them each with $500. And they went and they did really well. And Fred Astaire would mail us a check for $500 every year for the rest of his very long
Oh,
life.
wow.
So
That
I
must be a
feel
wonderful story to tell people and to
it
share.
it is, and I
Mm.
feel like that's just the spirit of our organization.
I can imagine the difference because for some people, you've got to put food on the table, no matter how talented you are. If you haven't had that break,
Right.
how do you keep going? So many people have to give up their dream inside the arts because it just doesn't pay. How
So
many members do you have? Like, what's your reach?
in a given year, we probably, with all of our various programs, help about 3,500 people.
That's a lot. And so you there,
Yeah.
Rebecca, you're in the church gathering hall that you would use to sort of
Yes,
that you're
yes,
basing your
I'm here
operations
in
out of.
Guildhall, the Church of the Transfiguration, which is also known as the Little Church Around the Corner, gifted us this space back in 1923. So we've been located here since then.
Tell me about the stories of what motivates you.
I think that what motivates me is just knowing that we can be there and we can make a difference. We hear a lot from people who are ready to throw in the towel or pick another job that does not involve their creativity. And so it's really terrific to know that in our corner of the world, we're making the performing arts a little bit of a brighter place.
What keeps you up at night, Karen, when you worry about things?
I think my biggest worry is people not having enough to eat. And that certainly is something that motivated me to start the Actors Pantry, but also something that I worry about. And I'm always in the back of my mind turning over, like, how can we do more and reach more people in that specific area?
Tell me about the other tools, software tools that you use as an organization that you rely on.
Zoom, which we, like everyone else in 2020, jumped on Zoom very early, and it has become a really great tool for us where we can do a lot of outreach. We were able to continue our programming and continue our meetings, even when here in New York City, our physical location was closed for so long during COVID, but we never shut our doors.
How do you market yourself normally then? How do people find out about you?
I think it's a mix of word of mouth, just somebody else, another performer that you're working on a show with, mentioning, like, oh, I got help from this organization. And also, we work with a lot of other performer organizations, a lot of New York City-based organizations that tackle homelessness or hunger. So I feel like we're part of a bunch of networks where there's a more formal referral process, but we're seeing more and more that word of mouth is the number one way.
Tell me about the mission for the 2025, assuming we're not going to have another pandemic. What other things are you trying to do to develop and innovate? And tell me a bit about how you innovated the food bank too.
So I think that what we're always trying to do is listen to what is happening out there. We try to interview our clients, the people that we're helping, as well as members of the board. What trends are we seeing? Where can we be of better service? And where can we put into place programs for things that are prohibitively expensive for people? One of the programs that we do is we provide yearly a free headshot program, so we provide free photography for our clients because photography, everybody's got to have photos, but they can be, you know, $2,000 so we try to innovate in that way. What are the services we can provide that are gonna provide longevity in their career?
Tell me about the general world of nonprofit in New York, or just how it is to operate. Do you have to have constraints around your governance? How do you get funded? What do you do? Tell me a little bit more about you guys as a group.
We survive on diverse streams of income. Certainly, we get grants from foundations. We get grants from the city, from the state of New York. We're very fortunate to have received funding for several years from a lot of really amazing, amazing groups. So that is, I would say, half of our operating income comes from that. And then we supplement with individual donors. We do various donor drives throughout the year. And we also work with planned giving. So we've been very fortunate to have been left some bequests over the years, which are part of an endowment that generates interest income every year to also help us survive.
Great. And do you know what I love about this is that there's people that have clearly needed that service or have experienced it, or as you said before, if they're in the performing arts, have a huge amount of empathy. And it really
Mhm.
feels like it's a community taking care of its own. If it's people who are leaving you bequests because that's what they care about, that is kind of the best version
I
of
know, it's really
philanthropy, which
sweet.
is it's nobody else's business if these are the people that I want to help and support.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So it really is, like you said, that the performing arts community takes care of their own, and we're just really glad to be a part of it and be able to be doing what we're doing, and that there are performers that will then remember us, and sort of it keeps it going.
I have really enjoyed hearing that story, especially the Fred Astaire story. I hope you don't mind if we
Yes.
repeat that on LinkedIn
Not
when
at
we
all.
promote
Not
this
at all. We'd
story.
love that.
Thank you very much. Both of you. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Karen. It's been really a great pleasure to have you on our customer showcase this week.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.